Dungeons and Dragons, the classic pen and paper tabletop game in which nerds waste away their lives in their parents' basements pretending to be elves,
taking the hobbits to Isengard,
gnomes, and all other manner of different fantasy archetypes. Well, that's how up until recently the world viewed D&D. In recent years, it's experienced something of a renaissance, being pulled forth into popular culture, sparking the imaginations of people from all walks of life. D&D is no longer the black sheep of the family hiding away from prying eyes for fear of embarrassment and ridicule. No, D&D is, for lack of a better word, cool. Now, I know what you're thinking, and I can hear you right now. That's because of shows like Stranger Things and the success of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And to that I'd say, yes, you've made a very astute observation. You are of course right, but I think we're neglecting an even greater factor, something that has propelled D&D from a mere tabletop role-playing game into the sphere of entertainment media. If you're not in the loop, I'm talking about video streaming. Sites like Twitch and YouTube have allowed amateurs and creatives to take their passion for D&D to an online space where they have amassed followers in the millions, all tuning in to watch people play D&D. Today we'll be focusing on just one of these creators, one that has achieved unparalleled success, being the highest earning channel on Twitch and creating such a successful Kickstarter that they now have their own Amazon Prime animated original series based on their adventures. This is the story of Critical Role. The tale of Critical Role is of course meaningless without the game that started all. Dungeons & Dragons may be in its renaissance now, but it's been around since 1974. Created by Gary Gygax, a man who wanted to inject some character and story into wargaming, D&D has been through several editions since its first inception, with the most recent edition being the 5th. The game itself looks complicated, with a lot of dice in varying shapes and sizes and a +1 here and a +3 there. It's easy to be intimidated. But at its heart, D&D is the basis for the best form of communal storytelling there is.
Come in, and you just come in. This is what you've done this turn. You just came in and you went, "Rah!" And then you chopped his friend in half. The man's just seen this happen. He's like, "Oh my god!"
I'm looking for my cat.
You're looking for your cat. Okay.
Oh, now you can.
Okay, so
Okay, look, I was focused on getting back into it.
roll an animal handling check.
Animal handling check.
Yeah.
With a good mix of player agency and a little bit of chance. That's where the dice come in. The purpose of the game is not to win, but to work together with each other to tell a faithful story that involves characters you've made in a world that can be shaped in any way you want. Dice willing, of course. And that's what Critical Role excels at. Because while they are playing a game, the players are professional voice actors with decades of experience in the field, and thus know how to act and convey a character's struggles with nothing but a piece of paper and some dice. You could be forgiven for forgetting that Critical Role is just a bunch of people playing D&D when you watch them get into their characters, only being drawn out of the story when you're on the edge of your seat hoping for a player to get a good roll at an important moment. The show is entirely narrative driven, with comedy, flair, and jaw-dropping twists and turns. It makes you reevaluate what a story should be, because when more than one person has the keys to a car, the direction it goes in can be unpredictable, wacky, and most of all, honest.
A child.
A little girl.
My godmother.
Yes. Named for her. I missed you so much.
Giving you a faithful story that captures your attention at every moment. It also goes without saying that this increases audience interaction, which in a show like this is only good. Critical Role has faced unwavering success since its creation in 2015. In 2021, during a controversial Twitch hack, it was found that Critical Role was the highest paid channel on Twitch, making a cool $9.6 million a year, and that's not including merchandising, YouTube revenue, and anything else they're making. Whether you're a fan of them or not, it's obvious that right from the get-go, their format was popular. And with popularity comes influence. Since 2015 and all the way into this year, Dungeons & Dragons have reported record growth in sales and in Google search trends. As we mentioned previously, Stranger Things had a hand in it. Actually, I'd go as far to say it had a whole foot. But to ignore Critical Role's involvement in that growth would be quite frankly silly. So that's all well and good. Critical Role helped reignite D&D's cold, dead heart and brought it to a new generation. I guess we can end the video there then. Wait, there's something we haven't touched on. The whole reason this video was created. In order to do that, we need to rewind a little bit, to 2019. Like I said, Critical Role was the catalyst in a revolution of new online content that inspired many to pick up the game and to give it a try themselves, with many creators coming to prominence because of this newfound popularity that D&D was enjoying. It was not long before Critical Role would be able to go for their crowning achievement. For 4 years they had enjoyed great success, practically being the poster child for D&D. In fact, Dungeons & Dragons themselves were one of Critical Role's key sponsors.
And since D&D is such a dorky 80s thing to do, I've composed a dorky 80s jingle for D&D Beyond. You've got the perfect warlock, the weapons and supplies, but you need a place to track your stuff, cause you're so disorganized. You click open the webpage, you heard about a Critical Role, and now you're ready to kick some butt in a mine shaft full of no's. It's D&D, D&D Beyond, yeah, D&D, D&D Beyond. You got your stats, you got your swords, and you got your invisible wall. It's D&D, D&D Beyond.
But Critical Role wanted to take it further. Past their origins in web series production, they'd already sold a line of comics and other written material, but now they wanted to go bigger. They wanted to go back to their roots. On March 4th, 2019, a Kickstarter for Critical Role's very own animated special was created, along with a video featuring all the key players explaining exactly what they want to do. They were aiming for $750,000 to create a single special animated episode of their show. Within 40 minutes, they had blown past that goal. Within less than an hour, they had smashed 1 million. Before 2 hours, they were up to 1.5 million. The funding was coming in from all corners of the world at breakneck speed, and by the end of their 45-day campaign, they had raised over $11 million, breaking Kickstarter records and allowing them to scrap the idea of a single episode and go on to plan and produce an entire series. It didn't stop there. After knowing the success of Critical Role, Amazon Prime picked up the show, promising to fund another series worth of episodes. This took this niche D&D show streamed on Twitch to new heights, allowing it to rise to the level of other mainstream media productions. Critical Role isn't just a web show anymore, it's a brand that has, through one of the most successful Kickstarters in history, managed to sink its teeth into a deal with Amazon Prime Video, proving once and for all that communal storytelling can successfully be adapted into an epic animated fantasy series. Whether it's your cup of tea or not, you have to respect the climb that this show has made, from a simple D&D game amongst friends all the way up to an animated Amazon Prime series. In essence, Critical Role, and in fact Dungeons & Dragons, takes us back to a more primitive yet wholly human style of storytelling, that of people sitting around a circle telling stories to pass the time and forget the woes of the day preceding it, while a fire blazes between them, keeping the dangers of the world at bay. I wouldn't blame you for thinking that in that respect this kind of narrative takes us backwards, because it does. But in order to tell a good story, we have to connect with what truly makes us human, and to do that, perhaps in looking back and retracing our steps, we'll find a new path forward.